KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind, Express 106.5 FM.
Alrighty, happy Saturday. Welcome to the International Wealth Builders Association radio talk show. I'm your host, Latoya Tillett, on KCAA Broadcasting Network. Now, I'm a member of the Black Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club and the finest women in real estate. I'm also the broker owner of Tillett Realty Group and CEO of Tax Plus Financial Services. My broker ID number is 014-789-74. So you can't be part of the International Wealth Builders Association and not talk about building wealth internationally. So on today's show, we're going to do just that. We're going to teach you how you can invest internationally and how you can help others do the same. So this brings me to my special guest for today. Let me tell you guys how excited I am to have her. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you took time out of your busy schedule to be here and join me today. So her accolades speak for themselves. She's a published author, national and international developer, investor, educator, certified NAR instructor. Oh my goodness, the list goes on. She has sold over 2,800 properties over the span of her career, probably closer to about 3,000 probably at this point with all the development she's doing. So, and let me also mention that she was the first African-American MLS president. She has earned the nickname the Doc of Investing for her creative ways of acquiring investment properties with no money out of pocket in most cases. She continues to change and impact lives with her various education programs and conferences. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome the one, the only Bronx-made Dr. Tamika Bryant, better known to me as the auntie I didn't know I needed. Welcome to the show, auntie.
Wow, wow. Well, thank you. What an introduction. What an introduction. I'm testing my mic to make sure you can hear me
Yes, I
because
can hear
I'm
you.
also probably one of the, I always say I'm the non-techie
Right?
of every group, right?
Well,
So,
that's okay. We can hear
uh,
you just fine.
and I just always want folks to hear what I'm saying. So, and not have just my mouth moving. And you know how that is.
Right.
So thank you, Latoya, for inviting me to the show.
You are
How
so
great is this? How great is
welcome. It's
this?
amazing. Thank you so much for doing this for us. And, being here, want to bring your insight and your knowledge here to the West Coast because a lot of people on our side of town haven't really heard of you or not really sure what it is that you do. And I'm always talking about you. And people are like, who is this Phantom Tamika Bryant? Like, who is this person? Like, who is this auntie
That's
lady you
right.
keep talking about? So here we are. Now y'all know.
That's right. It's me. I am in the flesh, and like you said, mostly because I'm on the East Coast with where I grew up. So I am a native New Yorker. I grew up in the Bronx. Lived in the Bronx all my life, and actually everything I learned on that ground in that hustle and bustle.
Yes.
So I was doing real estate before I knew what it actually was. So leaving the house at 18 and getting my own apartment and walking right into real world stuff, it was like, okay, so this is what this looks like. Okay, I know I got to get an apartment. I know I got to live somewhere.
Okay.
And then but other people weren't able to do that.
Mm,
And I couldn't figure out, like, why couldn't they do that? Well, it was this program or they had to do this. And so quickly I started subleasing property
really?
at 18 years old. Yeah, but I didn't
Wow.
know it then that that's what I was doing. Like it had a name and all those other things. I was just like, oh, okay, I got to go to college. I have to make some money because I was also putting myself through college and I was
Right.
going to St. George University, had to take 3 buses there. I was like, oh no, I need a car,
Oh my
all
goodness.
these other kind of things. So when you're in a New York state of mind and you're out hustling, it's like, okay, let me do this to do that to do this. And I had this job. And so, yeah, that's how I actually fell into. When I think back, I'm like, I've been in real estate since I was 18 years old, but just didn't know what it was called.
Oh wow.
That portion of it. And then it was other things that I started researching. And I just started as I was working for a nonprofit,
Mm-hmm.
and they had these stocks. I forget the codes. Not they're not 401k. They do a 403b or whatever,
Okay.
and 401b, whatever the numbers are. And I'm looking at that paper, and I'm going, huh, these numbers aren't really adding up. And when I started doing the projections, I'm going, how much money do I have to put into this system
Right.
in order to make this lifestyle that I want to have? And I don't want to do this in 40 years. So I really
Okay.
went and sat down with a pen and paper
Mm-hmm.
and wrote some stuff out and looked at if I did this to do that. And so quickly, it made so much sense that I got into real estate.
Okay.
At an
Okay.
early age, I knew I needed to be there. I just didn't know how. I didn't know what I was going to do. There was no YouTube. And, I just didn't know what I didn't know.
Right.
But what I did know was that I knew 50-year renters, and I
Mm.
knew I didn't want to be that.
Well, hey, that's amazing. Well, I'm glad somebody feels that way. I know a
I just
lot of
couldn't do
people
it.
out there probably do. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break, Auntie. I know I can just kick back and let you take over this whole thing.
Oh,
But,
no, no, no. And that's why
but
I said I like to talk, because
yes,
when people want to hear, that's why I'm like, you got questions? What folks want to know? Because
exactly.
I have made every mistake there is in a book, but I won't make it twice.
Okay, awesome. So we'll take a quick commercial break and we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more about what got you into real estate and what you're doing now.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, I muted myself.
Yeah, when he said, please test Mike, I wasn't sure if he was talking to you, me, so I just was over here pressing buttons. Joe, you gotta tell me which buttons, because if not, I was like, am I gonna disconnect something over here fooling with this?
FireUp Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections, hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. FireUp Connect also offers virtual assistance with a wide range of services, including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing, and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. FireUp Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
Real men of real estate.
Men of Real Estate radio show here on KCAA.
Boats, mortgages can be purchased.
All of us want to live in thriving communities.
Basically, go to the radio station kcaaradio.com.
You can find us on your dial at 102.3 FM, 1050 AM, as well as 106.5 FM.
Are you a real estate investor looking for a new opportunity in one of the top tourist destinations in the world? Look no further. Welcome to Punta Cana. Perla Bahia is a private resort-style community in Punta Cana that consists of modern condos, custom villas, and various commercial amenities. So if you're interested in learning more or joining us on one of our monthly investment tours, don't hesitate to contact me today at 909-494-2280. All right, welcome back to KCAA Radio, International Wealth Builders Association. I'm your host, Latoya Tillett, with my special guest here, my auntie, Dr. Tamika Bryant. Before we went to commercial break, she was just telling us a little bit of how she got started and, getting into real estate almost by accident. So, starting off by subleasing properties in NYC. So now we're back. So, auntie, what was your, like you said, your driving force was because you didn't want to be a 50-year-old renter. So take us into how you ended up getting your real estate license and then becoming a broker.
Yeah, so let's see. My background was in nonprofit management.
Mm-hmm.
So I in New York, that's what I did. I worked in a Boys and Girls Club,
Okay.
actually. And early on, at 18, 19, 20, I was writing grants.
Wow.
I had, yeah, I know it's kind of, it sounds really weird, but I started learning how to write grants when I was 13
Hmm.
because I was actually managing paperwork as an assistant to the grant writer in that organization. And so me being
13?
that kind of I'm inquisitive. I want to know everything. I want to know how to break it down. I started from the reports and then matching the reports to what the deliverables were and all those other things. And before I knew it, I was this grant writer,
Oh, wow.
and I was implementing programs. So I knew how to write a program to match a grant as well.
Mm.
So early on, that's what kind of what happened. And then the national organization recruited me at the age of 22, I believe it was, to the first time they came to recruit me to move
Hmm.
to Atlanta to their corporate office. And if
Wow.
you can imagine a 22-year-old, and I'm like, I don't think so. So I turned them down 2 years in a row.
Wow.
And I just was like, I'm not ready to leave New York. I'm 22. Like, who leaves New York to go to Georgia? Right.
It's a
And
lot
so,
slower, I know that.
yeah, a lot slower. And also, my dad is from Macon, Georgia,
Okay.
and he always told me, like, don't ever go back.
Mm.
Like, don't go to the South. Like, you're not going to like it. And so I had that in my head too. But
Okay.
he hadn't been to the new Atlanta, kind of a thing. It's like, oh no, Dad, Macon is definitely different than Atlanta. So to make a long story short, I was recruited out to that organization in Atlanta, and then another organization recruited me from Atlanta to Kansas City.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So this organization wowed us. It would mean there would be less travel for me.
Mm-hmm.
I would be able to be home with my kids and hubby and all that kind of stuff. Gave hubby a job. All these great stuff happened.
Mm-hmm.
And everything was going great for 2.5 years. And then on March 23rd, 2004,
Wow.
went into the office and I was terminated at 9 a.m. and my husband was terminated at 10 a.m.
Oh my gosh, that is so crazy. How did that make
So
y'all feel? Like that's such a crushing blow. Like
yes, a crushing blow to say the least, because that particular weekend we were on a high and a low at the same time.
hmm.
So you have to understand that during that weekend was my son and daughter's combined birthday.
Oh,
And we had flew my mom into town for their birthday party. The
wow.
sad part was that we knew she was dying of cancer.
Mm.
And so we knew this was going to be the last time we saw her.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of was happy and sad at the same time. So I went into the office that Monday to do that. And for those who are sitting here who are like, oh, I have this job and it's my safe zone, and that safety net, and that's why
Right.
you won't do something else. That's what I thought I had. I thought I had a safety net.
Mm-hmm.
And to have a safety net pulled from underneath, not just you, one income, but the entire household
Wow.
income, and in a city where you didn't know anyone, and with two little kids under the age
Mm-hmm.
of 10, and everything else, and we had no other place to go. Where were we going to
Wow.
go? My mom was dying of cancer. My dad was already deceased.
Wow.
My husband's dad was already deceased. It's like, where are we going? We're not.
Yeah.
The only option we had at that point was if we left, that we would have to move back to New York
Mm-hmm.
and live with my husband's mother,
Mm.
so my mother-in-law.
Okay.
So to the folks who were in the things, that was a no, and I had to figure it out.
That would be a hard
So,
no for me.
yeah, that was a hard no. So after I was depressed for about 30 days, and my husband's, he's just the most optimistic, praying, oh no, it'll all work out. And I'm going, how is it going to work out? It's like, it's not going to work if we don't do something. And so he says, look, you have all these skills from over here and all of this. But, the other part of that, guys, is that I was planning on suing that employer.
Mm.
So I did not want to go into another 9 to 5 and take that baggage with me.
Right.
And also because that employer was very connected. So I didn't
Oh.
know what was going to happen. So he just said, hey, you're used to running everybody else's business. Go start your own. And that's what I did. So on May 14th, 2004,
Mm-hmm.
I formed I went to my attorney, formed my company called the Real Estate House.
Oh, okay.
And so that's when the real estate house was formed.
So like
Was
10
in May
days later.
2005. No.
Oh. Oh,
May.
May. Oh, okay. It's a couple
I was
months later.
terminated in March.
Okay, March. So you had a couple
Right.
months.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I had a couple months. That's why I said I needed 30 days to cry and weep. And this was the only thing I had ever prepared myself, the industry I prepared myself to be in forever.
Right.
I didn't plan on being in real estate. I could see real estate as some income that I wanted, but never to operate a brokerage.
Wow.
Oh my goodness, no. And although I kept saying when I retire, I'm going to retire on the beach and sell real estate or something that seems like fun.
Right.
But no, I fell into I have to grind and replace six-figure incomes in a city that I didn't know.
I couldn't imagine. Oh my gosh, that sounds so scary. Like the average person probably would have just crumbled, and that just would have been the end of their story right there. But you persevered and you pushed through, and you ended up owning your own brokerage. And then, how many offices did you open up after that?
Well, I started with that one, and that started in my house at that living room table.
Mm-hmm.
And I started doing research, Latoya, which is why I tell folks you have to do research because there's always an out. There's always an option, but when you are in a panic situation,
mm-hmm.
it's hard to see that.
Yep.
And I got on the ground and I found a grant from the city to do a facade on a building.
Okay.
And once I found that, I was like, well, if I can get someone to give me a loan, now I have money to fix up the outside of the property.
Okay.
And I don't have to pay for that. So I started putting these resources together.
Nice.
And I found a building that was zone C2 so that I could live in this building. Because my mind is saying, if it all goes by the wayside and I can't figure this out, we can at least move into this building and still have an office.
That's
the
smart.
Kids are small enough, the things. And so that's what I did. I brought that piece of real estate. I had the worst contractors that I could ever find. And I remember looking at my husband and he said, you know what, I'm going to run point on the contractors.
Okay.
And my husband is not the handy one at all.
Okay.
So he wasn't then. He is now because he was forced to do it.
Right.
My husband has a background in phys ed, and he was a coach, basketball coach.
Oh, okay. Oh, cool.
And so no things, but I was the handy one because of my dad. My dad did everything from fix cars to build furniture and that kind of thing.
Right.
So so that's how I started, opened up that first office, and then it was just 2 years of putting my head down and just grind.
Wow.
Everything I made went back into the business and, fed ourselves. And then we had to I started going after government contracts for real estate, state. I went after a Freddie Mac contract, state contract, city contract for real estate, anything I could do to bring money through this business because traditional sales, I didn't know anybody. So it wasn't like I had a circle of influence that I could start calling people to say, well, let me help you with your real estate. No, I had to find new business.
Right.
And at the same time, I still had those rental properties that I purchased when I got here. Thank God.
Okay.
Because eventually we had to move into one of those properties when times got difficult over those 2 years. We eventually moved back into our main house.
Okay.
But I rented the main house to the state. To make 3 times what I needed for the mortgage. I'm telling you, when you're in survival and that creativity has to get going because I could not see. I couldn't see I was going to go and live with the mother-in-law. That was the main thing. I was like, this is just not going to happen. How are we all going to fit in this, women's apartment? This is not going to work. I didn't want to go back to New York. I just didn't want to do it. So fast forward now, I think over the years, we started opening up franchise-like offices, people who understood and liked our niche, because our niche in the business was working with investors, because that's what I was.
Okay.
So I brought the investor niche into the market that I was working in as our brokerage. That's all we did. So not only was I teaching my agents how to invest, that was my target of the type of client. So I would work with attorneys. I'd work with all kinds of investors who did not want to manage their own portfolio. So I quickly became a portfolio manager for them. So it was not only buy the property. I'm like, you buy the property and we'll also manage the property, and then we'll run numbers and keep doing this so that it makes sense, and you keep doing what you're doing so that they're leveraging me to build their portfolio. And
Wow.
so that's what opened me up to that part. And the next thing I knew, I was working with developers, learning the development side, because again, that 13-year-old girl who picks everything apart was doing that with the developers. And what
Wow.
I found early on is that the developers, if I could find them money,
Mm-hmm.
then I could be their girl. And
Okay.
so I would go
Yes.
into them, get offering financing for their projects, not to sell their listings. And
Wow.
so one developer would introduce me to the next, and then it just kept happening. And then some of the developers, I would say, okay, no, I'll also do your sales, and I'd run their sales division. And that's kind of how it happened.
Oh,
And then we
wow.
opened up in Missouri, Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
We opened an office in Georgia. We have one in San Diego. We're in Panama
Okay.
City Beach, Florida. And then, of course, we're doing
Yes.
the developments that we're doing in Punta Cana, Dominican Republic now.
Yes.
So we also have a team over there. So,
all right, Auntie,
yeah.
well, I'm gonna stop you. Don't give up all the nuggets just yet. Let me stop
I
you
mean,
for a second.
well, yeah, that's what I tell you. You have to stop me because it's a lot going on in the story.
It really is. It really is. So let's go ahead. We're going to take a quick break. I hope y'all are out there with y'all notepads. I brought my notes because every time she talks, she drops some type of nugget. So we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more about this international development that she's gotten into.
Okay.
All righty. Huh? What happened?
Fire Up Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections, hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. Fire Up Connect also offers virtual assistance with a wide range of services including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. Fire Up Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
Real men of real estate.
Men of Real Estate radio show here on KCAA.
Boats, mortgages can be purchased.
All of us want to live in thriving communities.
Basically, go to the radio station KCAA radio.com.
You can find us on your dial at 102.3 FM, 1050 AM, as well as 106.5 FM.
Are you a real estate investor looking for a new opportunity in one of the top tourist destinations in the world? Look no further. Welcome to Punta Cana. Perla Bahia is a private resort-style community in Punta Cana that consists of modern condos, custom villas, and various commercial amenities. So if you're interested in learning more or joining us on one of our monthly investment tours, don't hesitate to contact me today at 909-494-2280. All righty, welcome back. I'm your host, Latoya Tillett. We're here live on KCAA Broadcasting Network. I'm here with my special guest, Dr. Tamika Bryant. And before we went to commercial break, we were just talking a little bit about how she got into real estate, how she started her brokerage, opened multiple offices, not only nationally, but internationally as well. So that guides us kind of into our next segment. What made you decide to start developing internationally? Or maybe you should tell us how you got into being a developer.
Basically, I had to, it was kind of, a few things were happening at the same time when I made that decision. So a big piece of it was that I was already working with developers.
Okay.
And I was helping them build out their projects.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just made more sense that I moved into that space, because once you start seeing and doing the actual work, then why not?
Right.
So I was already doing the going to the city meetings and doing the politicking and all of that kind of stuff. So why not
Politricking?
just do, yeah, the politics.
Okay. We'll talk more about that later.
You guys know what that is, right? It's
I hope
like,
so.
yeah, it's the politrics. And so I was already doing a lot of that. And so once you do that much of the process, so you got to understand, I'm doing financing,
Okay.
I'm doing the sales.
Okay.
And it was one day I created this program, and it was you could buy your house and get the car at the same time. And I had partnered with Mercedes-Benz in order to make this happen. So
Okay.
the developer I was working with was like, oh my gosh, I've never seen anything like this. And then I was going, well, if I'm doing all of this, can come up with marketing programs, I'm surveying, I'm doing all this extra work, I need to get a bigger piece of the pie,
I heard
because
that.
I'm in a space where I can figure all of this out. And at the same time, during this time, I was training for the National Association of Realtors on two particular classes that I really loved, but one of them was on building housing opportunities
Wow.
and creating housing opportunities. And what that course that I was going around and teaching real estate professionals about, and this was now, guys, this is like 18 years ago or something. It was telling us then where we are now. And it was saying that there's not going to be enough affordable housing in any major city.
Wow.
And it told us that 18 years ago. So
And we're
I was
literally hearing the
training
same thing
and
today.
right. And I have this in the back of my head, and I'm going, so if there's not going to be enough affordable housing for first time homeowners, then there's not going to be enough affordable properties for first time investors either.
Right. Okay. Okay. I see where we're going with
Okay.
this.
You see where we're going?
Yes.
We see where we're going. But the biggest challenge for me at the time, when I decided I wanted to do it, was that I was still mom at home.
Wow.
And when you have to put those kind of hours in, because the other thing I knew is that it wasn't necessarily going to happen in this country. I was going to have to look at other countries, as well, because to build in other countries is cheaper than what I could build here for the entry level investor.
Wow. That's amazing. So I know you have, you have many things going on. You have lifestyle brand. I'm actually representing today. I wear my Black Beach Bum T-shirt.
Actually, and you know what, Latoya, that's actually the kids that's their brand. That's their company.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we'll give it up for the kids.
Yeah, and I'm calling them kids. They're 28 and 24, but they're always going to be kids to me, right?
Always going to be your babies. I tell mine the same thing. I don't care if they're 75. They still going to be my babies.
So I'm a part of their company, but that's, I'm a part of it.
All right.
But yes, so thank you for the support, Black Beach Bum. And that I kind of came up with the name though, because it was the tagline I came up with first was relax and invest, because I just really believe people should decide when they want to retire,
right,
and not have to work a hard life for 75 years and then decide, okay, I can relax a little. Like my thing was like, hey, I want to be retired at 40 or 50 years old.
Right.
And then, my thing was I'm going to retire at 40, and then I'm going to let my investments take care of me. Okay. Because I married my husband and he was a little older, and I was like, well, when he goes to retire, I want to be retired too.
I heard
like,
that.
I don't want to be
We're doing this together.
I want to do what I want to do. So actually I retired twice.
Okay.
Because the first time I retired, I didn't realize that I couldn't sit and do nothing. So I started
that makes sense.
making a whole bunch of messes in the house, and I put a hole in the ceiling one day, and he came in and he's like, no, you're gonna have to find something to do. This is not gonna work. And that's when I started doing more coaching and things like that for small businesses and real estate brokers and stuff like that. Yep.
Okay, awesome. Now, let me tell y'all, I've gone through a coaching program a couple of times. I'm probably one of her more hard-headed ones, but I do make some moves. But let me tell y'all, she is that 6 and 7 figure business coach. She got it for you. So if you're lucky enough to get into that season to where she will coach you, if you qualify, you'll be definitely in for a treat, and it is worth its weight in gold. I tell you that much. So Auntie, we were talking about doing some international development. So where are you developing? I know already, but where are you developing right now?
Right now, I have a couple of projects in Punta Cana, Dominican Republic, and the first project I envisioned, and again, I'm going from the eyes of the investor.
Mm-hmm.
So the first community I planned out, it has um, 2 and 3 bedroom
Okay.
homes.
Okay.
There are duplexes, fourplexes, and sixplexes on the outskirts. So
Okay.
it's, variety, but also with the investor in mind.
Right.
And I put that out there, and in 60 days, we sold out of every 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom
Wow.
duplex in 60 days. Before we could even get the plans approved,
Right.
we were sold out of all of those individual units. And that's when I said to myself, I better go find some more property quick.
Yes.
While I was in the Dominican Republic, and while they're in that particular area, Punta Cana, with it being a high tourist area,
Mm-hmm.
you just can't get enough properties up because you have Airbnbs and everybody else. Everybody's going there for the beaches.
Yep.
They're building a second airport and all those other things. And so that's why we decided to go there, stick it out for some
Okay.
time. And next, we just cleared some land in Ghana.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Ghana, huh?
in Ghana.
Wow, going to the other
Uh,
end of the earth.
that's right. That's right. And excuse me, Ghana was actually supposed to be first, but the parameters that I require for my co-developers and partners, they didn't meet those right then, but they're ready now, and so they've been clearing the land for that one. They're also
Wow.
clearing the land for some beachfront, so they found the second location already. We have
Wow.
plans to also be in Guyana, not just Ghana, but
Okay.
Guyana as well. So we're doing the visits there. That probably won't happen as next year as quickly as Ghana and what we're doing in there. But we
Okay.
select countries based on, can our investors go in?
Mm-hmm.
And I always keep the little investor in mind because I always think of me.
Yes.
So I always have to have an entry point that somebody like me, when I was working my 9 to 5,
Mm-hmm.
could afford to go into. Because now, if you guys look at it, where are you going to find a 3 bedroom or a 2 bedroom or any kind of property for 150,000?
There's some
New
sheds
construction,
available.
new construction that you can Airbnb, and then also not have the restrictions that I started seeing happening over the last 15 years for investors.
Yes.
So in Kansas City, there was a whole lot of red tape they started adding for registrations for if you were out of
Wow.
state investor and paying to register properties and things like that.
I
And
think
all
I
the
had
way
to do that.
to this day, when I look at Atlanta and Atlanta says, hey, you guys can't have more than 2 Airbnbs. You as an investor cannot own more than 2 Airbnbs.
Wow.
Guys, for the investors who are out there, how is this a free country? And then you tell me I can't make as much money if I have the money and I'm taking care
Right.
of my properties. You're still going to cap me on 2 properties?
Yeah, see, I don't like to be told that I can't make money. That's
No,
just,
I mean, I
it's
need
not
at least
fair.
5 doors to be a millionaire. Like, I'm like, the way I build stuff for the new investor is that if we can get five
Oh, sorry.
doors for the new investor, you can retire a millionaire. It doesn't require a whole lot. I mean, you can do it in less doors if you get a different kind of property, but for
Right.
the average investor who needs to add a door and they don't have a whole lot of money to say, "Oh, I've got a couple of million, I can just dump it in there."
Wow.
But, and if you can't even do that in a market that, like in Atlanta and some of these other things.
Right.
So again, I seen this coming. from,
You are a
years
true
ago.
forecaster because she be telling us
Yes.
stuff, and a lot of us don't listen. And then she's like, "I told you so. I've already made my million. Next project."
And that's what I do. I said, remember when I told you guys this is what's going to happen in 2 years? And folks don't listen, and some do, but I just keep on going because people have to hear it when they hear it.
Right.
Right. And so for me, I'm just going to keep moving and keep doing what I'm doing. And folks will make their own decisions. But what we do know, when you look at all the stats, is that the majority of, Americans who are out there don't have enough in retirement now to retire.
Definitely
3 out of
not.
4 women will retire broke. There's,
Hurts my heart.
when you just start really looking at the real numbers, so it's really going to be it's already the haves and the have-nots, right? So that gap is just getting wider and wider. So for those who are not ready and don't want to invest, then, the 2020 special said it the best when they said there was a hedge fund owner got on there and he said, pretty much you're going to rent the American dream.
Wow. That is just painful
and
there.
So, yeah. And I'm just an advocate of forget what they said. For those who want to rock and roll, let's go.
Let's do it.
For those, that's right. And for those who don't, we'll see you later. And I have a great one of my things I always say: somebody's got to be on fries,
right?
When I go through the drive-through, because so I'm not condemning anybody on any of the choices that they make, but I'm a poor little girl from the Bronx who built her portfolio, built her wealth, families building, my kids are building their portfolios on real estate. You got to have that a part of your portfolio. And real estate,
I think that's the most important piece.
Oh
right
my
there.
gosh. It is the most important piece. It's like one of those things I tell people. I can put insurance on a sixplex. I may not be able to put insurance on that IRA, but I can put insurance on that sixplex.
That's right.
I'm typically I'll go buy that, $600,000 sixplex, before I put $600,000 in cash over in that IRA.
Okay.
Because I know I can get an insurance policy on that one.
Right. At least protect your investment. Now, I know you always talk to us about that. You tell us, you got to build it and you got to protect it so that, most of us focus on just building it. And then we look up and, oh, whose name is that on my title? That's not me. That's my place.
Right. And you got to protect the wealth for the future generation, right? So that means you got to get them involved as well so that they know what's going on. So I invest with my my kids with my young adult children as well, so that they're a part of the process, so that they understand what this is.
That's
so
great.
and that's why I'm always busy and I'm always, on the go, because
always on the move.
always on the move or whatever. And I'm always near someone's beach or at the beach or because I love instruction and I love teaching and I love breaking down complicated concepts and things like that to a simple form so that more people can access it.
Yeah, and so we can grasp it a little better. So you touched on teaching at the beach. Well, I know you came up with this conference, and we'll talk about that when we come back from the next commercial break. So hold that thought. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
Sure.
Fire Up Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections, hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. Fire Up Connect also offers virtual assistance with a wide range of services including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. Fire Up Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
Real men of real estate.
Men of Real Estate radio show here on KCAA.
Boats, mortgages can be purchased.
All of us want to live in thriving communities.
Basically, go to the radio station KCAA
You can find us on your dial at 102.3 FM, 1050 AM, as well as 106.5 FM.
Are you a real estate investor looking for a new opportunity in one of the top tourist destinations in the world? Look no further. Welcome to Punta Cana. Perla Bahia is a private resort-style community in Punta Cana that consists of modern condos, custom villas, and various commercial amenities. So if you're interested in learning more or joining us on one of our monthly investment tours, don't hesitate to contact me today at 909-494-2280. Alrighty, welcome back to KCAA Broadcasting Network. I'm your host, Latoya Tillett, here with the International Wealth Builders Association, and my special guest today, Dr. Tamika Bryant, or better known to me as Auntie. So before we went to that last commercial break, Dr. Tamika was talking a little bit about why she likes to be at the beach and creating instruction and everything, and then she came up with a conference that is called Teach at the Beach. And let me tell you, I've been to 2 years of this conference, and like every year there's new information, there's new eye-opening opportunities, there's new chances to connect with people from pretty much around the globe. You'll meet people from all different walks of life, all different states, and it is hands down the funnest and best conference I've ever been to in my life. So Auntie, tell us a little bit about how you started Teach at the Beach and why you chose that name.
So my passion is teaching. I started out as an adjunct professor when I was 21 years old. While I was in college, my dean said, you should teach this course. It was a course I guess I was really excelling in. And I became an adjunct professor. And from there, I've always taught at some university or college or something, in my spare time.
Okay.
I'm a busy. I love staying busy and learning. And while I was down in Panama City Beach, I was looking for off-market properties for this investment group. Okay. So I happened to find 80 of them and some other condos that were going into auction, and
80.
all this other stuff. Yes, in a building. And
okay.
And building probably had 160 units in it.
Wow.
And so and it was, the 80 was owned by one person too.
Oh, wow.
So yeah.
Okay.
He was the original developer, and but anyway, I was down and doing the research there, and I just always said, I'm always going to love teaching. I'm always going to be teaching. And while I was down there, I'm like, and why not teach at the beach? And so I remember doing an instructor development course, and I do those once a year where I bring people in who want to be instructors, who want to be public speakers and things like that. And I remember telling that group that year, that I'm just going to start doing instruction at the beach, and then you guys will come there anyway, because I already know I cannot do the cold anymore. And I came up with Teach at the Beach. And so the first year I did it, and I believe there were 12 people, I think, showed up.
Oh, okay.
And because we were in a conference room, and we all could fit in a conference room.
Okay.
And then the second year it grew, and then the third year, but by the time the third year came, we had outgrew the hotel down in Panama City Beach.
Wow.
And the numbers kept doubling each year.
Yeah, third year, that's the year I attended.
Yeah.
My first one.
Yeah. And so I started getting nervous. And so here's the thing to the people who are listening. It's like, okay, you get out there and you start doing something, and you create a great product or something, and people start coming to it. Well, for me, I didn't want to have 3,000 people at a conference. Yeah. I liked doing a conference that had 50 people or 75 people, because I wanted to know everybody's name.
And
like,
she
I
did.
feel like I'm vested, right?
Yes.
And so that when you came to that conference, I knew you.
Yep.
I could see your face. And
You
I
even
remember
knew my
us
husband.
being,
I'm like, wait a
yeah,
minute.
it's like that's what I pride myself on. It's like I want to know who I'm working with,
Right.
and I want to know your kids, and I know your kids, and
Mm-hmm.
I want to know who you are when you come to my conference. My family is there. They want to introduce you to them because this is how you build wealth and build community.
Yep.
And so everyone was like, "Well, you got to open it up because we got other people we want to invite." And I'm like, "No, I don't want. I don't want to."
I think I
So
said no
now,
too.
so now you're right. And so now we're in year 5, and
Yes.
we decided to go to Dominican Republic because
Ooh.
we have the investments that are there,
Mm-hmm.
and it just made sense that we could go a little, we could go larger in the Dominican Republic, because of the spaces, and they had some conference hotels and some other things, and we wanted to do add some other pieces to the conference, like the kids track this year.
Okay.
And so when you're adding pieces and doing different things, you have to have spaces that accommodate you as well. So that was a lot of fun. And when you start looking at, well, where can we go and still be on the beach, because it's
Right.
teach at the beach,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and that you can have an experience. And it just made sense because we had development projects, and a lot of our investors were already vested there. So that's what
Right.
we did. And the conference is in what, 3 weeks?
Yes,
Oh
it's in
my
3 weeks.
gosh.
I'm so excited. I gotta get my tickets, my flights, and everything. Waiting on the room reservations to be confirmed. But if you guys, everybody listening out there, just this is just so powerful because she's adding the kids track. I don't know if y'all caught that, but the kids track, we're bringing the kids in, and they're having their own conference so that they can learn how to generate and create wealth at a young age. So then they're not 40 or 41 like myself trying to figure it out. they got it together, you know what I'm saying?
And
So,
more
yeah.
importantly, Latoya, it's more important that the kids are meeting with other kids who
Hmm.
parents are in the same group. So
Yes.
I know you, and your son knows my son,
Yep.
right? So that's the kind of community and the network that we all should have had at an early age, with
Hmm.
like-minded people and like-minded parents
That is
and
so
things like
true.
that.
So
So
true.
all of those are there. So that program is for the 8 to the 18-year-olds. They'll
Okay.
be learning about the metaverse and all kind of stuff going on in there. And then we have the junior squad, which is the youth that are younger people who are 19 to 30.
Shout out to
They
the junior squad. I love them. They're so much
Yes, shout out
fun.
to the junior squad, but they come on. Those are our staff that are normally from college age. Those are my kids' age, and they work the conference so that they get some skill sets added to their resumes, as well as they're learning about real estate while they're there and all those other things. So we're excited about the conference. We always are. It's like
Yes.
before we leave the last one, we are excited about the next one.
Exactly. We
So
already bought the tickets and everything for the next one. We don't even know where it's going
for
to
the
be.
next one. We don't even know where it's gonna be, and that's exactly what's happened this time. It's like, yeah, but yeah, we do that, and we just didn't. We wanted to expand, and we didn't want to have you know, people who could not bring a guest or bring children to this particular conference, because when you go away, you do
Hmm.
want to bring more of your family and kind of stuff, and make it like a vacation at the same time that the
Yep.
other person is going
And a
to
tax
learn.
write-off.
And that's right, our accounting specialist in the room. So yes, so all good. But we love that conference, and so we're excited because this is the first time we're going internationally with it.
All right. So, for everybody listening out there, if you're interested in learning more about Teach at the Beach, you can go to TATB conference.com, correct? Is that right? Okay.
That's correct.
All
That's
right.
correct.
Check out that website, or you could just text me 909-494-2280. Just text me the word international, and then I can give you more information on the conference as well as what we have available for sale down there. So, what do we currently have? What are we offering to sell right now?
Oh my goodness. Well, I don't know all of who your audience is, and you never know who's on, right?
That's true.
So we have Pearl Almada Project. There, we have a couple of sixplexes left in there.
Okay.
And we have some celebrity investors who will be at the Teach at the Beach conference, and they'll be purchasing in both of these new projects. So for those who, watching celebrities and things like that, other people like to just come to those locations because
Mhm.
they're probably going to see a celebrity. So
Right.
that's pretty cool for us that we already have celebrity status buying in our projects. But
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell who those are. They'll announce it at Teaching the Beach. But
So you hear that? You
the
got to come to the conference if you want to know who's purchasing in
and
the
where they're
Dominican
purchasing.
Republic, what they're purchasing, what their portfolios are going to be looking like. You got to come to Teach at the Beach, and then they're going to be there mingling right around with us.
That's right. Because we have our grand opening of our groundbreaking ceremony. So some of them will be there as well. And then in the Bahia project, which is a resort, and it has everything in there, shopping.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a hotel for sale if there's someone who wants to buy into or invest in or operate and buy the hotel location that's there. There are villas that are 600,000. There are condos that start at 157,
Mm-hmm.
2 bedroom, 2 bath condos in that same vicinity. So we have lots that are going on, and these projects, we've already sold 60 of our
Wow.
condos in Perla Bahia, and we have not broken ground yet.
Right.
So the good thing about the good thing about our projects is that you don't have to have you can, as I call it, real estate on layaway, right? So you
Yeah.
can do a payment plan
Mm-hmm.
in our projects, and because you have a year in one project and you have about 2 years to pay off, you can really get an affordable plan teaming up with someone or even by yourself. And for
Right.
you Cali folks, 157,000 is a drop in the bucket,
Right.
you know.
Okay. Especially over here in Cal. Yeah, you're not finding anything for 157. Like I said, there's
No,
some sheds available at Home Depot and Lowe's.
no, exactly. And we're estimating that it'll be upwards of about 200 plus by the time we're finished, just
Wow.
based on, cost and stuff going up because we do about a 5% increase every few months and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. So we started out with groundbreaking opening prices at 135.
Wow.
And then we are now up to 157. It's where our values are. So if you got in early, you already have equity
Yep.
in.
Like, can you imagine having equity in a project that hasn't even broken ground yet? Like,
Yes.
the math speaks for itself. I mean, if you're an investor, savvy investor, or a numbers person, you already know what that looks like, what that ROI is.
Right.
So,
And I
yeah.
did that on purpose. Again, remember, I'm always thinking about the new investor.
Right.
I mean, think about what I would want. I could do it if I had a payment plan. I could do it,
Yep.
this way. I could do it. There's so many ways I could do it. So that's the way I looked at it. And
Yeah.
I want to do it and have equity. And so one of my first purchases was new construction. I brought new construction sight unseen with the money I made from my wedding.
Wow.
And the one thing about that property is that by the time the rest of the subdivision was built, my values were up.
Wow.
And so that told me right there, this is the kind of real estate I want to do. So perhaps I'll start flipping new construction. And
Okay.
then,
Now, look at this. It's just dropping all kind of nuggets, flipping new construction. But see, we are running out of time. We only got like a minute
yes,
and a half left. I'm like, if we
I
can
tell you, it's
man,
like,
there's
it
so
goes
much
so fast.
information, right? We need to make a series out of this or something, right? So really quick, we're doing breaking ground. Can we talk about Perla Amada?
Yes.
Okay.
So Perla Amada is breaking ground during the conference. So that will happen on September 10th
Okay.
in the Dominican Republic. And it is actually an all women development team that put this project together.
Yes.
So we're excited about that because we'll be out there. It's all women, all American team. So
Mm-hmm.
just letting your audience know that we have so many opportunities to develop, to partner with us, to invest with us. So reach out to LaToya and let's do some more
Yes.
business.
Let's get some work, y'all. So reach out to me. So we got to go. The music is coming on and cutting us off. My number is 909-494-2280. You can follow me on YouTube at LaToya Tillett. And I'll see y'all next month. I'll be coming to you live from the Dominican Republic. Thank you so much, Auntie, for being a guest on the show. I love you so much.
Awesome.
And we'll talk soon.
All right. Talk to you later.
KCAA